An adequate mythology, philosophy, worldview for our time needs to speak to the serious problem of a lack of emotional maturity in leadership. So this is the 9th video on making a mythology for our time. And here in this country, in the United States, there's this image of the warrior as loud, aggressive, destructive, impulsive, warlike, always warlike, violent. So this is an insecure and fearful and neurotic 8-year-old's image of what it means to be a warrior. When you ask real warriors, seasoned ones, their image is very different. It emphasizes duty and honor and responsibility and good leadership and understanding people, and knowing when to fight physically and when not to, and preferring negotiation to battle. So we can turn to some old as well as contemporary stories for images of what a mature person looks like, an emotionally mature person, because we have the spectacle in this country and elsewhere of a lot of our leaders on the inside being 5 at best, 6. Sometimes they throw tantrums in public. That's terrible twos. So it's possible to be a person who's, 60, 70, 80, and on the inside be 5. That's a serious problem. Cultures who succeed at leadership take great pains to avoid that and make sure people actually grow up. So old myths, to start with them, have images of what immature behavior looks like. There's a Maori myth, an old folk tale about one man who, this is a story about how the Maori got their markings, and this man at one point is violent with his wife, and the story is about how he learns not to be. So the story has both. Her father, in that case, is the mature figure who shows him how to be a man who's strong and peaceful. And there's myths, I'm thinking of the Greek myths where all those father figures eat each other and war on each other and scheme against each other. That's immaturity. And then there's other myths where more mature figures show up. So let's go to Irish and Welsh mythology. There's a character known to both. The Irish call him Manannán mac Lir, and the Isle of Man is named after him. The Welsh call him Manawydan. So I'm going to just briefly mention one of those stories, the Welsh stories. He's usually known as a sea god, but the attributes approach to mythological figures isn't very workable. It doesn't really capture their personality, their archetypal style of being. He's really more of a wizard. So Manawydan is very smart, and he's learned patience, he's learned leadership. And so in one story, his heroic friend Pryderi gets upset when somebody plants a castle right in the middle of his property, his forest, in the land of Dyfed. And so Pryderi charges into the castle against Manawydan's advice and disappears. And his mother Rhiannon, equally heroic, she goes charging in again against Manawydan's advice, and she disappears. So Sigfa, who's Pryderi's wife, is of course distraught. And now what are we going to do? And Manawydan says, we're going to wait, we're going to watch, and we're going to work. We're going to figure out what's happening here. So it takes a while, but he figures out that there's an evil enchantment laid over the land of Dyfed by a very powerful wizard who's got a score to settle with Pryderi's family. So through cleverness, through research, through patience, Manawydan not only breaks the spell, he ends the blood feud that motivates it. That's how mature people act. So in my Lamplighter trilogy of near future speculative fiction, I tried to give a picture in all 3 novels, but especially the last one, of a wise woman named Miriam Najjar. And Miriam and 2 other women create a religion called Lamplight, hence the name. Lamplight with a capital L. It's post-patriarchal. It is non-hierarchical. It's a religion of story and inspiration and care. And so if you read those stories, you'll see her portrayed as a leader. She's strong, she's highly assertive, she's highly intelligent, she's caring. She's everything I think a mature person should be. And she gives good advice. Sometimes when I get stuck, I summon up Miriam in my imagination and I go, what would you do? So check her out.